Alright, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome to the stage our first comedian of the night, Roger Stafford! Put it together for him!
I'm no good at this.
Okay, Gene.
You're great.
Hello? Okay, I'm here. So my name's Roger Stafford. You might know me from sitting quietly by myself, going to movies alone, listening to NPR more than music. That's the kind of person. I have that same reaction next to me. I am what you might call a good kid. I don't smoke, I don't drink. I do enough drugs to make up for those two. That's good. It actually surprises a lot of people that I smoke weed, because I guess I don't really give off the vibe of being a stoner. I don't really identify with stoner culture. A lot of stoners like to watch cartoons and eat Lucky Charms. I just like to watch black and white horror movies. So while they're laughing at Adventure Time, I'm just trying to figure out the imagery in an Ingmar Bergman movie. Because I don't like girls, I guess. So. I think I might be gay. Not because I'm attracted to guys, but just because I've had to give up on girls. At some point, you gotta cut your losses. My thoughts on heterosexuality are really about the same as my mother's thoughts on my comedy career. You can try it while you're young, but at some point, you gotta get a real job. Except in my case, a real job is a penis. So, guys, I'm available. I'm experimenting. Girls, fuck you. You had your chance. Unless you want a second chance, third chance, as many as you need. I'm not going to college. I'm in my senior year of high school. I'm not going to college at the end of the year, which surprises a lot of people. A lot of people don't like that, don't think it's going to work, and they have no trouble telling me. And I'm getting tired of the reactions I'm getting when I tell people that, so I've just decided to start telling people exactly what they want to hear. So when someone asks, next time someone asks, why aren't you going to college? I'm just going to say, well, I've always really liked heroin. And I want to suck dick for money and leave drop people. So,
That boy's a bag!
I can't grow any facial hair. And I used to think, thanks, sorry, yeah. And I used to think maybe I was just young, but I think now it's just in my genes. None of the guys in my family have facial hair. My dad tried to grow it a few years ago. That was a bad few weeks for our family. It was going in my sister's room, like, we knew it was going to be bad after he lost his job, though. We didn't think it was growing a mustache bad. It just gets really patchy and weird. But my facial hair never really gets past what I like to call a pedophile stage, which is where it's just visible enough that people know I'm trying, but not enough to convince anyone I'm good with kids. I used to think the word euthanasia was pronounced youth in Asia. So for a long time I'd just see Asian teenagers and think, I don't know what happened over there, but I'm glad they got out. I'm 17. I am younger than probably everyone in this room, and which probably weirds some of you out, which is fine. But you just have to remember that the things you have to do illegally, or legally, I still have to do illegally, which makes it cool. I am cooler than all of you. If I go out after curfew, I'm James Dean. If you do it, you're a rapist. If I mock authority, it's subversive. If you do it, you get fired. If I have a setup like that, and not a third punchline to the joke, you're gonna forgive me. If you do it, you're a bad comedian. I'm an atheist, and Christians always assume that's because I hate God. Normal people assume that because of the evidence against him. But it's really not for either of those reasons. I'm an atheist because when I was 5 years old, my dad was tucking me and my sister in bed, and he asked us what we wanted to pray for. And I said, I want to pray for Batman, as he goes out to protect the citizens of Gotham City tonight, that he'd be safe. And my dad said, Batman is not real. And that's why I'm an atheist. Because any God that won't let me believe in Batman is not a God worth believing in. I'm Roger Stafford.
Give it going for Roger, guys! right, our next comedian for tonight is a very good friend of mine. You guys can catch him at Long Shots. It's a bar off 52, the first and third Wednesdays of the month. Give it up for Jim Griese!
I'm feeling pretty shitty tonight. I got pretty sick last few weeks. I have no idea how. Being sick is pretty gay. Not to be confused with recently deceased Fred Phelps, which we can all give a pretty good applause to that, I think. Fred Phelps being dead. So I'm pretty much just going to go until I kind of spew the liquid courage I put inside me, or I pass out. So everyone in the front row, I'm counting on you to just catch me. And all the comedians later, I apologize. Just please don't lick the microphone. That'd be great. I'm single now, so that's a really different experience. Thank you. Doing it has gotten is a different approach than I used to. I was talking to a friend about it. I was like, man, the next thing I'm looking for in a girlfriend is I just don't want her, the first and foremost, is just no daddy problems. I don't think that's too much to ask for, just a little sanity. And so he introduces me to this nice woman. She's direct. She makes games. She hates children. You know, the entire package. But what I didn't know that came around the package is all the baggage from her ex-boyfriends. And I'm not talking about little bags. I'm talking like 747 size baggage. You can fill up an entire plane of her baggage. And it's gotten to the point where, and I'm okay with that. It's just my issue with it is. Like, okay, I'll give you an instance. We're talking and we're not, like, we don't really want to date. We still have, you know, we don't want to have like friends and benefits kind of thing. And I go, well, do you want to have sex? And, you know, a woman, an average woman, what's it called, is a reaction to something like, no, how would you ever ask me that? How dare you? Her reaction was more, maybe, but you can't look at me in the eye and you can't kiss me. And that's when, and no, she's not a prostitute. But there's something wrong with me because I thought that was attractive. And I'll tell you, everyone, or most guys I can think will maybe agree with me, everyone wants that one time where you have a girl that you dug that crazy bitch. It's just that one time. And the problem with that, guys, I warn you now, never let her see that you nicknamed her Buck Cherry on your phone. That doesn't go very well with the whole baggage thing. And I know a lot about baggage. I'm more of like a U-Haul size baggage. That's mine. Smaller, more usable. My new rule for women is that I'm only dating women whose baggage can fit in like an overhead compartment. That's where I draw the line. I've dated about 3 psychologists. They're not real psychologists, but they tell me they're psychologists because they had their major in psychology, because apparently that's enough. Yeah, you guys have dated them, huh? You know that's like, oh yeah, I read this paper on this. This is how you were going to react. No. The first dates are always really unusual because as soon as you're sitting across them, they're ready to psychoanalyze you. And often they'll be like, I don't think this is really going to work out because you seem to be just stuck in the second stage of yeah. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means, but I agree because you don't look anything like my mother. So it's definitely not going to work out. Shoot. Being single, I get a lot of time, and for things like searching for wisdom. We all do that, right? Right? That's what we're kind of, it's a big goal, right? To kind of learn new things. And in my search of wisdom, it usually leads me to the men's bathroom, and the men's bathroom stall. And everything, because we all know what's on the walls. That's like great reading material. And some of my favorite stuff is like, I read the other day was, before the speakers blow up, was one that said, America is an empire in decline. That's some deep stuff right there. That made me think. Another favorite of mine was, Marc was telling me about it, another comedian you'll see a little later, was above a urinal that said, the future is in your hands. Now that's brilliant. That is great. That is some high quality material that we should definitely imprint on every wire hanger for motivational purposes. And another one is something that really was on the stall that really took me back. I wrote it down right here, see if I can get it. There was, what you are now, and we once were, what we are now, you shall be. Damn, that's some deep shit. I don't know who these poop monks are, but they really like give me like motivation. They put the pressure on me. I gotta add to this, right? I gotta add to this wall of wisdom, and I gotta do something. Like the next guy that sits in my seat, he's counting on me. He's relying on me. So I drew a penis, and I thought I was done. Oh shoot! Who likes penis? That was great. And I have one more for you. I'm definitely not going to do the whole 5 minutes. You know, I found out lately that college really isn't for me. And the truth is, I hate busy work. I just can't stand it. I had a literature class, and the teacher goes, you know, your assignment is here's a woman's lit book, and I want you to look through this and kind of highlight and discuss all the articles in here that you find, you know, particularly egregious to your beliefs. Now, a few weeks went by, and I handed the entire book with the exception of the cover, and she kind of just stared at me. I thought it was a good report, but that's just me. Thank you. My name is James Griese.
Give it on for Jim. Jim, the best bathroom graffiti that I personally have ever seen was at a restaurant in Chicago, and above the toilet it said, "Scotty, don't beat me up, I'm taking a shit." But where the T was supposed to be was just a solid line up. So Scotty clearly wasn't listening. So unfortunate for him. I'd like to bring our next comedian up onto the stage. Give it up for Marc Kaufman, guys. Come on!
Look at this tall person before me. Give me a moment while I adjust. Alright, enough of that. How's everyone doing tonight? My name is Marc Kaufman. I had a realization recently. Is the camera on me, by the way? Can you see me in there?
Oh, you're good.
Alright.
Sexy.
Lucky camera. Well, I realized the other day that adults can get pizza delivered to them for $10 to $20 in a car. And adults or kids can get ice cream delivered to them from $2 to $4 in an ice cream truck. But only children can get candy delivered to them for free as long as it's in a windowless van. I live in Joliet. I moved here about a year and a half ago. And when I was looking at a place, my realtor was like, "Hey, let's put you in a good starter home." And I'm like, "That's cool." And it got me thinking, starter home? Are there any finisher homes? And I realized that's what nursing homes are. So, I like Joliet. It's a real town. I like that it's a mix of all the good, and there's also some grittiness too. And you can't mess with the cops. You can't talk your way out of shit, I've noticed. Because I got pulled over recently for, and the cop came over, he's like, "Hey, you know you ran that red light?" And I tried to talk my way out of it. I was like, "Officer, it was yellow and it was turning red, and there was no way I could have slowed down for that at 95 miles an hour. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. You may notice that I talk fast sometimes. That's because of the half Puerto Rican in me, but it's alright because he was just delicious. Thank you. But I'm half Puerto Rican, half Jewish, and I'm not married. And if I get married, I know enough Puerto Ricans to know I'm not going to marry a Puerto Rican. So I guess if I have a kid, it would be Puerto Rican. But not that that really matters, because based on my experience growing up, everyone's just going to fucking call him Mexican anyway. But I don't think I want to have a kid. But if I do, I'm just going to name them X. That's it, X. So when they look at maps at malls, they'll know exactly where they are. But I don't want a kid. If you ever see me in my car and it says "baby on board" on the bumper sticker, right next will be another one that says "shit happens." But I saw another bumper sticker recently, and this is true. It said "dog mom." That was it. It said "dog mom." And in the front, I could tell that the woman was sitting there, and she had a little dog in her lap, and was kissing her and all this stuff. I was like, oh boy, wow. You know, look at that, the dog mom. That's a self-proclaimed bitch right there. I do have a dog of my own. She's a sweetheart. She's awesome, but she reacts extremely violently to tennis balls. She gets so riled up when she sees yellow fuzzy balls, I can't even have Asian men over at my house. Yeah, you hadn't heard that one before, Tony, had you? So, thinking about kids though, I don't want to have kids, but I understand that most people do. And so, when I see a family, they have one kid, great, two kids, great, three kids, they're pushing it a little bit, but I understand. But if you ever have a family that's more than 3 children, then you're like the human equivalent of like the crazy cat lady. You're starting to get to that point. You're having way too many to be sane. But, I got divorced recently, and for a while, I decided to practice abstinence, which is a more active way of saying nobody wanted to be with me. But I decided to give that up after having to replace too many crunchy bed sheets. But I did learn, trying to prevent pregnancy, wearing a condom is 98% effective. All right, and then the pill for the women is 99% effective. But to be 100% effective in preventing pregnancy, guys have to take control and wear socks with sandals. That will absolutely prevent any chance of pregnancy. And if that's not enough for you, you can wear a watch with a calculator on it. That'll prevent any chance whatsoever of pregnancy. Yep. So I was asking my grandmother, my grandparents, hey, how do you find a good woman? And you know what? I'm going to come back to that. I'm looking at my notes and I'm ahead of myself. Pretend you didn't hear that. I'm Men in Black. Alright. I asked my grandparents. I'm starting over on this one. I'm messing up. Let me go over. I'm choking. Give me a second. I'm doing fine. Most people in my family are cool with the fact that I don't want to have kids, but the only person that's not cool with it is my grandmother. She's kind of old school, and she takes some old school type of perspective. And so I was sitting there with my girlfriend, and she decided to bring this out, my grandmother, at Thanksgiving. We're all sitting there at Thanksgiving, and my grandmother says, Mark, I don't understand why. Why would you not want to have kids? It was a very tense moment, and she decided to confront me when everyone was there. I didn't appreciate that, so I took my girlfriend's hand and I looked my grandmother straight in the eye and said, I told her the truth, it's because we only like to have anal sex. Yeah. So, I used to always believe that sexuality was a choice. I thought that people are born the way they are and they want to, do what they want to do, I guess you could say. And then I met a friend of mine who had a Star Trek insignia tattoo on his chest. Yeah, he had the Star Trek communication badge right here, which is what the Star Trek people push when they want to talk to people on the bridge, talk to the captain. And I realized very clearly, my friend has chosen to never have sex with a woman. That was a choice. But I don't want to get into a bad relationship again. I'm in a good one now. But I'm afraid of being like a lifelong bad one. Because I was at a buffet and I was like, I saw an old couple, like 80 years old, and the guy was scooping up some macaroni and some food onto his plate. And the wife was like, honey, don't you think you've had enough? And he said, he just was like grumbled and he kept piling it on. She said, I'm serious. If you keep, eating like that, it's going to cut into the years that we have together. Why would you want to eat like that? And he said, well, it sounds like you just answered your own question. Now we'll get back to that joke I accidentally started before. So I asked my grandparents how to find a good woman. You've heard this before. And they held each other's hands, and they're good people, despite the fact my grandmother's a little misunderstanding. But they've been married for 50 years. And they held each other's hands and said, Mark, just go out and volunteer in your community. If you go out and volunteer, you're going to meet other volunteers, and they're the best people that you can imagine. So I did. I went out, I cleaned up streets, I helped in old folks' homes, and I did every type of community service I could imagine. And it was amazing because every single woman I met had a parole officer. But I do have to thank my grandparents for that advice because it led to a lot of conjugal visits. Alright. My girlfriend's really cool, and I asked her, hey, is it cool if I come up with any jokes and write them about you? And she's like, no, I don't mind if you use me to come up with material, but could you just say it's not about me? Could you say it's about like your girlfriend's mom or something? I'm like, yeah, that's cool. So I was fucking my girlfriend's mom the other night. But it does backfire that she's really smart. we were shopping in the store. And it was actually these jeans were in Kohl's. And I hate that question that women will give you. It's like, hey, does this dress make me look fat? So I wanted to throw it back at her. So I was like, hey, honey, trying this on. Do these jeans make me look fat? She said, honey, anything that covers you up down here is going to be a huge improvement. Some of you may know I do teach English in a college in Joliet. And, most of the students are really trying hard, but then you get the really weird stories and they're hilarious. This semester, with the very first day of class, handing out the syllabus, going through the syllabus, the parameters of the class, and I see a student was out and he had his phone out and he was on the phone. I'm like, what could he be possibly doing? It's got to be an emergency. I go over, look over, and he's on OkCupid. And he was changing his profile to mark that he had some college on the first day of school.
Some college.
And people ask me a lot, since I teach English, does it bother you when you see internet slang in your writing and your college students writing? Does it bother you? It doesn't ruin my day, but you have to let the students know they can't do that. So if I see an LOL in an essay, I'll write LOL right at the top, right next to the big F. But I'm not trying to make fun of college students too much, though, because college was really hard for me. My own grandmother died 6 times. Cool thing, I did go to Florida State, though, and the cool thing about that is that they had classes for, if you were 21 and above, you could take a wine tasting class. You hear it's kind of a party school, and it's kind of true. And that was awesome, and I never enjoyed studying more for a class, ever, than when I took wine tasting. But the funniest thing was when I saw how many other people had crammed for the final exam the day of. And I'm sitting there and I'm enjoying myself, having a great old time. People are stumbling in, people are vomiting on the exam, people are passed out on the table. That's how I earned my A. I was one of those people, actually. I did go to Florida State University. They are known as the Seminoles, that's their mascot. And our biggest rival was the University of Florida. They're the Gators. Well, it always bothered me when I would see students on campus drinking Gatorade because that was created by scientists at the University of Florida. That's why they call it Gatorade, right? And so I decided I wanted to make my own Florida State drink to keep the money in town. I called it Seminole Fluid. Now, not too many guys were into it, except a lot of them in the theater program, but it was the sororities that kept us afloat. I have to give them all the credit. And then I realized what happens at every championship game. What do they dump on the coaches? Gatorade. Screw that. Dump Seminole Fluid on them. And we had a huge client in Penn State University. I'm going to leave you with one piece of advice. I spent hours earlier this week digging out the worst splinter of my life, minor surgery. Okay, so learn from my mistake. Always spend a couple extra dollars on name brand toilet paper. Yep. All right, that's all I got. I'm Marc Kaufman. Have a good night.
All right. Hey guys, so you remember that joke that Marc told about the guy with the Star Trek tattoo? I'm so alone. So no one wants to see that. I just put tape over my mirror, so I don't need to see that happen. Alright guys, put your hands together for our next comedian, Mr. Andrew Wolverton!
Hello, my name is Andrew Wolverton.
I'd like to introduce myself. I got props. I got mad props. These props are mad. They're angry. Sorry. Right here is my girlfriend's beaver. She won it for me in a claw machine, and that says a lot about my personality. She's a lot better than my old girlfriend. It's, God, you guys are so... Woo! Drinking beers, roping steers, and beating queers. Woo! The thing I miss most about Bush being president, honestly, is the show Little Bush. I want everyone to know that. It's just, Republicans aren't that funny, you know? Right. This girlfriend's a lot better than my old girlfriend. My old girlfriend was at the old nursing home. She didn't work there or anything, but you know what they say about Alzheimer's? They're ready alls the time. Thank you. Thank you for all those who laughed at that. I lose a lot of shit, and I also lose my keys a lot, and today I have all the spare keys that I ever have. Here's my keychain with a beer bottle opener, because I used to be an alcoholic. It says, "I give in to beer pressure." Nice. This is the keychain I have. It's a spare keychain. My mom likes to put little religious medals on my stuff without me knowing about it, even though she knows I'm an atheist. It's adorable. Here's the keychain I made when I was 5, and then I refound it after going to a mental rehabilitation center. And this is the key that's a flashlight, so I can find all the rest of my keys in the dark. Nice. Nice. Fuck keys then. Speaking about finding stuff, I recently found out something in my heritage. I recently found out that I am a part black. And that's a lot to kind of sink in. There's a lot of stuff I think I can do now. Like this next joke. Jeez.
The other day, I found out I was part black. I also found out I was part Southern too. I guess that explains all my self-loathing. I still won't use the N-word in public, but that doesn't mean I won't say it in private by myself, like when I'm pooping or something. I don't know. I do a lot of weird stuff to entertain myself. My favorite thing to do is whenever I have a dentist appointment, I always make it for 2:30, because I'm sure you might know the joke. Oh, 2:30, time to see a dentist. But I will go to the dentist office, make the appointment, look at the receptionist straight in the eye, cracking no smiles, telling them nothing of the joke that I think they might be aware of. Don't talk to the dentist. It's not till I go to my car, I start breaking out in laughter. Now that's not too crazy, but another thing I like to do is fuck with my friend Jake. See, what I'll do is, I've been trying to convince him I'm his personal Tyler Durden. It hasn't worked out well, but it'll work out eventually. Another thing I did was, alright, Macho Man Randy Savage joke time. Because I wrote these jokes when I was high. And I thought, okay, I just gotta get high again and I'll be able to write them. But of course that's not how it works. Alright, so there's some crazy shit going down in Russia, right? Fucking Russia, Ukraine, you know what we need? We need a leader that can fucking take a stand. Fucking get shit done. You know who we need? We need Macho Man Randy Savage. A presidential tower of power, too sweet to be sour.